Well, that was earlier today with Mr. Toriolade. Let's dive deeper into the issues of the state of the nation expectations for 2025. Now, with the consultant communications and strategy to the Senate President, Mr. Kenny Okolugbo, joins us now. Mr. Okolugbo, good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so the last time we spoke, I was in Abuja. You were also there, and we did look at the budget's expectations and those numbers. That was the day President Bola Tinubu presented the budget to the lawmakers. A joint seating is what we saw. And we didn't meet up with that 31st because we're already in 2025. But can we say this has any impact? Is there any cause of concern that the lawmakers were not able to meet up with that December 31st?
Yes, you remember we both talked about it. I said that certainly the medium-term expenditure framework didn't come on time and the fiscal strategy paper. And you also raised that concern in Abuja that it would be very difficult to meet up with the 31st of December. Because of that, you can see that the Senate and the House of Reps in India with some extended budget 2024 till June 2025. And so what that implies is that the budget of 2024 will still be in place up until budget 2025 is considered and passed into law.
So obviously that doesn't leave any loophole for that. But what are your expectations, looking at where we stopped or where we ended 2024, and now we're in 2025, especially the policies, the economic policies? What are your expectations?
Well, it's looking quite good. You just finished on the global oil price. If Brent is at $76, we all know Bonnie Light is as good as Brent, and the benchmark for budget 2025 is $75. That is $1 above the benchmark that budget 2025 has been predicated on. So what we pray and expect is that it will remain at $76 and upwards from $76. Because what that means is that the expectation for $75 remains. And if there is an increase from the 1.8 million barrels of crude oil that we produce a day now to 2 million barrels that the budget is predicated on, it therefore shows that there will be no shortfall of revenue for the 47.9 trillion naira budget that was presented to the National Assembly. 2024 was quite a difficult year. Everybody has accepted that inflation is at over 34%. But the president has said that inflation will drop to his expectation is that the budget will be able to drop inflation to 15%, which will see a sharp decrease in the price of goods and services. And budget 2025 hopes to go on more of production than consumption. And when we go on production as against consumption, therefore means that the GDP would increase. More goods will be exported than imported. And there's been a trade surplus for the last 3 quarters. And if it continues in this trend, we'll see a drop in the price of petroleum products, especially petrol, which is a very essential commodity that we use for our generators and we also use for our cars, and influences the prices of goods in the country, as we can see. So looking at 2025 so far, it's looking quite good based on the budget and what we have just seen is the benchmark for the price of a barrel of crude.
Yeah, we don't know how sustainable that price is going to be at 76, because we do know that a lot of this is based on expectations that demand will increase. But we do know that if supply comes back on, then that could affect that. But I mean, I think the issue now is our optimism around the oil and gas sector, especially with the working of Warri Refinery, Port Harcourt Refinery, Dangote Refinery. And then if we have this price increase, I guess that also reduces what we pay or the search for FX, to import refined crude. And that puts us in a good position. But, another conversation coming out of this is we're supposed to have saved some money. I think in November, it was placed at about 5 trillion naira or billion naira that we have saved. I wonder how much we have saved so far, and we were promised it to be channeled towards infrastructure, but we really don't have the details of that.
What payments are you talking about?
Subsidy savings. Subsidy savings.
Okay, well, it's very clear that the subsidy savings has reflected even on the states on what they are earning. And that's why you see some states, like my state, for example, in Delta, sometimes earn over or close to 40 billion naira a month in terms of revenue, which has never been seen before. So what it means is NNPC has declared profitability. In a long while, NNPC has been declared very long. And like you are rightly said, with Warri Refinery and Port Harcourt Refinery producing, which is not as much as Dangote, but what it means is that, like I said earlier, the prices of petrol will come down. You can see that the dollar has already come down in December. Why did the dollar come down in December? It is obvious that most of the people who come from the diaspora for the holidays, the USI, the Christmas holidays, got a lot of forex. So supply outweighs demand. Once you have supply outweighing demand, it drives down the prices of goods and services, which was what the president said clearly in his budget speech. He said, look, if we have a lot of production than consumption, we will have more sources of supply than demand, and naturally, inflation will come down. And so what I think budget 2025 will concentrate on, which I know the National Assembly would also have it at the back of their mind, knowing what the Senate President has said, is to explore other areas apart from oil, which is the monoproduct that we have mainly dependent on. Explore that area, especially from the mining sector. Don't forget the value mining contract that was chain contract that was just signed by President Bola Tinubu through his Minister of Mining in France. If those areas are exploited, especially at the agricultural aspect, which will be worked upon, we will have a lot of agricultural produce. And by the time we have food security and have enough food products to export, we will have forex, which will drop down the prices of the goods. Because what we have always dependent on, is basically forex. And forex is the dollar, which has dictated our economy to a large extent. Once we have this in large supply, we might be stopped that we might go below the 1,500 naira benchmark that was used in terms of exchange rate.
Yeah, so, the other part of the budget, which a lot of economists, I haven't met an economist or spoken to an economist who agrees with the 15% target of inflation. They say it's unrealistic, but I guess the lawmakers cannot do anything about that. But I wonder what impact that will have to implementation of the budget.
Yeah, but like you rightly know, the budget is the law. What the lawmakers would do is to tinker with the budget. They will tinker with it in the sense that being a representative of the people, they're going to look at every aspect of the budget. So areas that they think they have to add to, they will add to it. The areas they will think they have to remove from, they'll remove from it. Which is why sometimes they use, we talked about this on the program in Abuja, people talk about budget padding. Budget padding is not illegal. It's a case of looking at military departments and agencies which enough funds have not been funded or provided for, and they provide for those areas. And so, by the time this budget now comes out, it will be the best. It will be the best interest of the nation. Because there is nothing the lawmakers can do in terms of control of the variances of the market forces, which will determine what the president is saying, rising from 34% to 15%. Even the president does not have control over that. What he's saying is that with the policies he has put in place, with the budget he has also brought, he's hoping and expecting that if it goes according to plan, it will drop from 34% to 15%. Yes, it's going to be a tall order, but it's not impossible to achieve.
So another issue is the cost of governance. I don't know if you saw Mr. Peter Obi recently. He did bring that up about tapering down on the cost of governance. I wonder if the lawmakers can do anything to this. I mean, they are the lawmakers, and if we say that we're running an expensive government at an austere time, shouldn't something be done about it?
Oh, certainly. Well, this is a bit more of a question for the spokesman of the Senate. But the truth about it is that every lawmaker is conscious of the fact that running costs to take the back burner. We have all talked about running costs, and running costs is basically what you're saying, the cost of government. I think the president is also conscious of running costs because he has reduced he has given a directive on the amount of vehicles that are doing the attack ministry. He has also talked about travel plans for each ministry. He has talked about the size of each delegation, even for himself and that of the vice president. And so, if it's being implemented by the presidency, the National Assembly does not have so much, does not have a bogus recurrent expenditure. The recurrent expenditure really stems from the executive. And so, if the budget is worked on, which I believe it will be worked on, and recurrent is reduced, it will stop more funds for capital. And we started looking at, for example, defense, which is 4.9 trillion, and some people have said that with the security situation we have had in the country, 4.9 trillion might not even be enough for defense. Even at 3.5 trillion that has been also allocated to education. Maybe when they reduce some of this cost of government, some of the reductions that are gotten from there will be added to education, added to defense, and maybe health, which is at 2.4 trillion. So all that is in the realm of when the budget is eventually passed. But the budget will be worked on from the beginning of next week. The National Assembly will begin on the 14th of January, and by the third week of January, work would have actually started by the beginning of the budget.
All right. So, one conversation we had in Abuja was the defense of the different ministries and effectiveness or effective use of their funds. We do hope that the lawmakers would be able to instill that better this 2025 so we can have a larger percentage of implementation of the budget.
Oh, certainly. The medium-term expenditure framework would have given an idea of that, because that shows the performance of the large projects and gives an insight into probably 2025 to 2027. But every ministry will have to come and defend their budget. Will have to come and show costs while those funds to be allocated to them. Looking at what they have done in terms of earlier implementation of their allocations in 2024. That is certainly what they're going to look at. And don't forget that the same president was very clear that the ministers will not be spared, especially those who have been recalcitrant, who have been invited and have not come in. They will have to do a scrutiny of what they have done. And the National Assembly, has the power to restore the cost.
All right, Ken Okolugbo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, consultant communications and strategy to the Senate President, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now let's take a break. When we come back, intraday numbers will come with Will Ibong. Just stay with us.